People, Deluded, I'm back again. Different settings, or should be familiar settings by now. It's the same place I am in all my breaks. But at the risk of looking like a weirdo again, I've got some points to speak about, people. Give me a second, because they've just come off my screen as I've had them. Here we go. The first lot I want to talk about is, Arsenal, we need a midfielder. For me anyways, there's two types of midfield. In an ideal world, I'm sure everybody has different wish lists and would probably bring in about 6, 7, maybe even 8 players. In an ideal world, a right back to compete with Bellerin. There's a case for two sorts of midfielders if we're not going to use young G's. Couple wingers, left back, centre half, if not centre halves. So you get the point. We know necessities. We're speaking left back, centre half, probably a couple other areas. But away from all of that, we know we need a central midfielder. Or I believe for me that we need one. I have it as a priority, but I would like to fix. Well, technically central midfield is the spine, but I'd like to fix up defence first. But midfield now, I think Guendouzi's got potential to be a decent midfielder and a competent midfielder for us, and if he develops he could play again. I'm not here to say he can be a French regular, but I see no reason why he can't develop and get capped by his nation if that's what he wants to do. Torreira's got a lot of ability. You saw he played over 50 times last year. He had great moments, consistent moments. He made mistakes like everybody else, and he had periods where he dropped off, maybe because of fatigue, injury, etc. He hasn't been perfect. For instance, I feel Torreira has to work on midfield runners as much as all of them do, and I feel we can't just rely on him because of his combative nature and things like that. Ideally, I'd like to bring in someone like him, someone with a bit of dynamism, not necessarily a defensive midfielder or a box-to-box midfielder, just someone that's, again, I would like these roles, but more 9 times out of 10, you just need people that, regardless of a skill set, are just competent defensively and realise that as much as midfield is about going forward, it's about going backwards as well. So I do think people get hung up on the terms, but if I had to say my ideal profile, it'd be someone who's box-to-box, can cover a lot of ground, can pass the ball forward and play make, equally kind of combative, can put a foot in and can try and muck in for us, to be partnered with Torreira or in a free in midfield ideally. Dynamism is an issue. In regards to our midfield options though, people, we are a bit pressed. We know we're pressed. I mean, off the top of my head, Guendouzi, Xhaka, El Nene, can throw Joe Willock in there. I'm probably missing out other people in it, people. That's how dire our midfield is now. I'm missing out other options. If it's not Xhaka and Torreira, or Guendouzi and Xhaka, I can't really think of anybody off the top of my head. We know Ramsey's gone, which got me really thinking. You've got Emile Rowe, you've got Maitland Niles, you've got Joe Willock, all at different points in their careers, still developing and things like that. But surely we've got to look at developing at least 2 of these into being midfield options for us. Now we know Emile, he's come up as a winger in the academy, can excel out there, could be played out there to get game time and whatnot. For me, his best position, I would like him to have a creative role similar to if he was to say Phil Foden or Wilshere of old. I feel they can all excel in a number of midfield roles, but I think they'd be best with some creative freedom. Long term, he is a 10 or an 8, so naturally he's going to be playing in midfield. Joe Willock, again, someone who played on the flanks and played further forwards, now become a central midfielder, arguably box to box, sometimes deep line. It's a bit hard to really decipher, but he's there. Now, for me, if I was him, I'd go out on loan and play football, but if he's given a chance, then cool. Whether he's good enough remains to be seen, but that's another option. Maitland Niles is a weird one. He's currently getting game time and helping us out at fullback, coming up as a central midfielder. As previously said, he wants to be a winger. Personally, I believe he's a central midfielder. Personally, I believe that a couple of these should get chances with the absence, or if another midfielder doesn't come in. Surely we've got to coach a couple of these options to become out-and-out midfielders. Even if I throw Iwobi into the mix, people. Now, he does his thing for us left wing. A couple of times he said he would prefer to play inside in midfield. Personally, I think long-term he's a 10. He's a, if not that, someone that's based centrally. I actually believe in his really older years he could become a actual central midfielder, probably a deep line playmaker, because he's skilled in tight spaces, skilled with receiving the ball from deep and looking to make things happen. So he's another one. Again, it's lovely to have all of these options, but it just got me thinking, we know we need a midfielder, but surely as they get older and they remain at this club, they need to convert or play Maitland Niles, Emile, Joe, Iwobi eventually into these central sort of positions. It's something that will happen. To which you think not all of them are going to make it, of course, because I've just said 4 man in midfield there. Obviously, Iwobi's establishing the team, but you get the point. There's 4 men there. You factor in Guendouzi and Torreira, sorry, that's about 6. Xhaka 7. This is all disregarding the point I said earlier about possibly bringing a new face in. So clearly it's naive to believe everyone can make it here. Clearly they're all multifunctional players, and I believe players should have one set of position to develop and stuff. But if you're more adaptable, you're more likely to play games, and it gives us positive conundrums moving forward in terms of who we line up. Of course, these players are still developing, but it really got me thinking, because sooner or later the club is going to have to decide, if they haven't already, which ones are going to make it here and which ones aren't, because there'll probably be another young midfielder being sourced, whether that's through the academy or scouting and whatnot. So that's all I wanted to really say, people. I've got nothing more to add on that, so I'm going to get out of here. People, Deluded, thank you for watching and rocking as usual. I'm out.